practical challenges encountered, and the solution adapted in emerging science, education, and technology. The conference is also consistent of plenary session of the 6 initial speakers, followed by parallel session and the paper publication to the international proceeding by Thomson Indexing. And on behalf of our rector, Professor Fatur Rahman, as a rector Universitas Negeri Semarang, who unfortunately is not able to join our conference today because of some duties in another place, he would like to say hello for everyone here by video, and let us watch together to watch a short video from our rector Universitas Negeri Semarang, Profesor Dr. Fatur Rahman, M.Hum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I give thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the implementation of the 5th International Conference on Science, Education, and Technology 2019. On behalf of Rector UNES University, I would like to welcome you all in UNES. I give the high appreciation to this seminar because it has relevance with UNES vision to be conservation university with international reputation. This seminar is also relevant to the policy of the Minister of Research, Technology and Higher Education for the development of higher education in Indonesia to become a world-class university by developing academic cooperation, research, and publication. I say thank you especially for the speakers. Dr. Howard from Monash University, Australia, Dr. Arasina binti Kamis from University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, Malaysia, Associate Professor Dr. Terasak from Kasesat University, Thailand, Dr. Pedram Kasyani from Sultan Idris Education University, Malaysia, Dr. Hendi Pratama from UNES University, Indonesia. I also thank you for all participants, both from inside and outside the country. Congratulations on attending the seminar. Good luck. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Finally, I would like to say thank you for all the invited speakers, all of our audience, speakers, participants, and scientific reviewers ISET 2019. Enjoy for the conference. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now an honor for me to invite the Vice Rector of Planning and Partnership Affairs of UNES to come to the stage and deliver a speech. For Professor Dr. Agus Nuryatin M.Hum, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mohon maaf, panitia, saya menggunakan bahasa Indonesia lebih komunikatif untuk saya. Para pembicara yang saya hormati, Pak Direktur, Pasca, Bapak Ibu Dekan, lalu panitia serta peserta yang saya hormati. Ketika kita berada sekarang ini di sini dalam konteks seminar tentang seminar kelima internasional dalam Science, Education and Technology (ISET) dengan mengambil tema Enhancing International Cooperation for the Acceleration of Digital Literacy to Keep Up with 4.0 Era in Humanity Education. Ada barangkali catatan yang perlu kita ingat bahwa di era sekarang ini ada kemajuan teknologi satu sisi, sehingga kemajuan teknologi ini menjadikan semua hal yang ketika teknologi itu belum ada menjadi berubah dengan total. Satu sisi. Sisi yang lain, dunia ini pada satu sisi sebenarnya sedang dalam proses penyatuan dalam konteks komunikasi, sehingga adanya teknologi, kemudian satu sisi yang lain adanya kemauan untuk berkomunikasi, untuk saling berkomunikasi, maka sesungguhnya inilah yang kemudian menjadikan di semua lini pemanfaatan digital hasil teknologi, sehingga semua itu bisa berlangsung bagi peningkatan kemampuan di semua aspek, baik kemampuan akademik maupun kemampuan dalam hal humanity, kemanusiaan. Teknologi tentu satu sisi membawa keuntungan buat kita. Dalam bidang pendidikan, bagaimana sebenarnya teknologi itu harus diterapkan sehingga bisa menghasilkan pencapaian tujuan pendidikan dan efisiensi pendidikan. Dalam era global, dalam proses kerjasama, tentu ini sangat menguntungkan. Artinya, ketika kita sebagai perguruan tinggi di Indonesia kemudian bekerja sama dengan perguruan tinggi di luar negeri, itu bisa memanfaatkan teknologi. Aplikasinya misalnya dengan pembelajaran e-learning. Nah, ini yang mungkin nanti dalam diskusi-diskusi selanjutnya akan dikembangkan. Bagaimana sebenarnya teknologi itu yang sudah ada kita miliki itu untuk bisa kita gunakan sebesar mungkin, khususnya dalam dunia pendidikan. Teknik apa, kemudian bagaimana pola kolaborasi itu dijalankan. 4 hari yang lalu di Jakarta diadakan seminar tentang kerjasama tentang penggunaan teknologi antara Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, kemudian Australia, Inggris, Amerika. Di sana memang kemudian disimpulkan bahwa khususnya dalam dunia pendidikan tinggi, itu kita harus mengadakan kerjasama dan pemanfaatan lebih efektif tentang bentuk kerjasama itu adalah pemanfaatan hasil teknologi. Saya percaya nanti para pembicara akan mengupas tentang hal itu sesuai dengan bidang konteks masing-masing. Satu sisi, memang digital teknologi bisa sangat membawa kebaikan dalam bidang pendidikan. Tetapi di sisi yang lain, kalau kita tidak sangat hati-hati, itu akan bisa memisahkan bentuk komunikasi personal antara guru di satu sisi dengan siswa, dengan murid di sisi yang lain. Sehingga komunikasi itu ada kecenderungan hanya lewat media pembelajaran. Sementara pada sisi yang lain, ketika kita berbicara tentang personality, tentang kepribadian, itu pembelajaran dengan proses bersemuka, bertemu langsung, itu menjadi lebih efektif. Barangkali ini yang menjadikan ada muncul gejala awal ilmuwan-ilmuwan Jepang bahwa sekarang ini mereka dengan kemajuan teknologi dengan 4.0-nya itu, ternyata mereka melihat ada satu kelemahan, apa itu? Tentang humanity-nya itu, tentang rasa kemanusiaannya itu. Saya berharap dalam seminar ini nanti di samping kita bisa mengaplikasikan, menerapkan apa yang selama ini sudah ada, pemanfaatan digital teknologi dalam dunia pendidikan, sehingga untuk mencapai hasil yang semaksimal mungkin. Di sisi yang lain juga mari kita ingat bahwa ada satu hal yang jangan kita lupakan, sisi sentuhan kepribadian, kemanusiaan itu juga harus disentuh. Dalam era di Indonesia, teknologi maju, tingkat kecerdasan maju, tapi kepribadian juga harus diperhatikan. Dengan demikian diharapkan nanti kemajuan teknologi dan yang lain-lain itu sebenarnya akan meningkatkan kualitas manusia secara komprehensif, yaitu satu sisi kemampuan intelektual, kemampuan IQ-nya, juga tentang potensi dan kemampuan humanity, kemanusiaannya sebagai manusia. Ini yang bisa saya sampaikan dan mudah-mudahan ini bisa menjadi renungan bahan pertimbangan. Jadi sekali lagi, bagaimana kita dalam era sekarang ini menerapkan teknologi dengan baik, tetapi juga di sisi yang lain jangan lupa dalam proses pendidikan kita juga harus menyentuh, mengembangkan potensi kemanusiaan yang ada pada manusia, sehingga betul-betul teknologi itu kita manfaatkan untuk pembentukan kemampuan manusia secara akal dan secara kepribadian. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kami mohon Prof. Agus untuk tetap di tempat. karena acara akan dilanjutkan dengan penandatanganan MOM. And we'd like to invite Director and Vice Director of Graduate School of UNES and all the speakers, please come forward to the stage to have MOM signing.
The first MOM signing will be between UNES Graduate School with Dr. Howard Mans from Monash University, Australia. The second one will be with Dr. Trirasa Soikiri from the categorized University, Thailand.
And next, we would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Arasina Binti Kamis. We would like to invite Mohammed Azhar bin Yusuf from National Institute of Education, Singapore to have MOM signing. And next, Associate Professor Dr. Arasina Binti Kamis from UPSI, Malaysia.
Give applause for the MOM signing. Thank you. You may be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the opening ceremony, and we are going to have the first plenary session in no time.
The first plenary sessions will be from the honorable speakers, Dr. Howard Mans from Monash University, Australia, Dr. Trirasa Soikri from the categorized University, Thailand, and Mr. Mohammed Azhar bin Yusuf from the National Institute of Education, Singapore. And the presentations will be moderated by Mrs. Intan Permata Hapsari MPD from Universitas Negeri Semarang. For moderator, the time is all yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have a great honor to be here as the moderator in the 5th International Conference on Science, Education and Technology, ISET, which brings the theme Enhancing International Collaboration for the Acceleration of Digital Literacy to keep up with Industry 4.0 era in humanity education today. Ladies and gentlemen, in this very special occasion, I would like to introduce the invited speakers to you in plenary session. They are Dr. Howard Mans from Monash University, Australia. And then Dr. Terasak Soikari from Kasaksa University, Thailand. And Dr. Mohammad Azhar bin Yusuf from National Institute of Education, Singapore. We are proud to invite the first presenter, Dr. Howard Mans. But before that, let me read your curriculum vitae. Dr. Howard Mans is a PhD in art linguistics from Monash University, Melbourne, Australia. He is also a lecturer in linguistics, schools of languages, literature, culture, and linguistics, Monash University. Now he is a director of Master of Applied Linguistics. He wrote many monographs like Style and Intersubjectivity in Youth Interaction, Communication Across Cultures, Mutual Understanding in a Global World. And also he wrote many book chapters like Lexicon in Australian English, Introduction to Australian English, and Theorizing the Semiotic Complexity of Contact Talk. And also he wrote a lot of journal articles like, Are You Trying to Be Funny? That's a humor in deaf-blind conversation. And then the challenges of multimodality and multisensorality, methodological issues in analyzing tactile sign interaction. And his outreach and engagement are as frequent contributor to local, national, and international media, including the ABC, BBC, and New York Times, Australian Geographic. Wow, many, yeah. And also as a frequent speakers at workshop for English language and international language events. Dr. Howard Mans is going to present a topic on measuring cultural relations and literacy in classroom, a tag-based approach. Okay, is that right? Okay, Dr. Howard Mans, the time is yours.
First, thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you to the Honorable Committee for the invitation to come to speak to you today about this topic. And also thank all of you for coming to today's presentation. We're sure this one works, so why don't we use this one for now. I'm much more comfortable walking around, so I hope you don't mind that I will walk around while I speak to you. Today, I want to talk about one specific aspect of technology and how we can use technology to measure intercultural communication in the classroom. Uh-oh. I'm afraid the clicker isn't working. Doesn't seem to be working. Oh, there it goes. Okay. And I will be presenting on behalf of a research team from Monash University, a polytechnic university in Cologne, Germany, and Western Sydney University. Maybe I should go closer over here. Now, the first thing to talk about is what do I mean by developing cultural competency? Now, for Monash University, cultural competency is very important. We consider it one of the most important attributes of our graduates. We want our graduates to be global citizens who can engage with the world. We want them to have cross-cultural competence. With this in mind, I am part of a research team that was tasked to try to measure cultural competency and resilience, to understand how our students learn about intercultural communication. We are a group of social psychologists, sociologists, and one linguist who is me. If we can identify how, where, and when students experience difficulties or success in the acquisition of intercultural communication, then we can provide positive interventions as educators. So what we did was we used a tool that we had developed as part of another project, and we applied it to the classroom. Now, what is this tool? This tool is a text analysis tool called Linguistic Inquiry Word Count. Now, Linguistic Inquiry Word Count is a 4,500 word dictionary. This might not sound like a lot of words, but 4,500 word dictionary can capture 85 to 95% of everything that we say. And when we use this dictionary categorizes each of 4,500 words across 70 different linguistic and social psychological categories. So we can use this text tool to process big data to isolate shifts in collective or individual psychology. We originally used this text analysis tool to analyze communication between Australian and Indonesian diplomats and Australian and Indonesian newspapers to understand communication between the two countries, and we decided to apply it to intercultural communication classrooms. This is what the readout of the text analysis tool looks like. So if you look at the top are linguistic categories. We can look at these linguistic categories and we have an idea of the percentage of linguistic forms that get used in any one text. If you look at the bottom chart, the bottom table, we can see that it measures, among other things, whether students are feeling anxiety, whether students are feeling sadness, whether students are feeling positively about a particular issue. Now, what does Luke reveal, this text analysis system? It reveals shifts in emotion or cognition. So what is a population or a group of students feeling? It reveals shifts in psychological concerns like family, religion, finance, death. And it also reveals shifts in language which are more revealing than you would think they are. So, for instance, we have words called function words in linguistics, words like a, and, the, should, and whenever groups use these words, whenever groups vary their language, we can understand, among other things, whether there is actually going to be a terror attack, because radical groups that use lots of these words are typically not planning a terror attack. But we know from analyzing the internet, the sites and the Twitter accounts of these groups, that 3 weeks before an attack, typically, there is a large drop in the number of function words and a large jump in the number of adjectives and nouns. So relative to today's talk, emotion and cognition words predict likelihood of various feelings. Namely, it's actually been shown to predict heart disease and death, among other things. So relevant to today's situation, I'm going to show how this tool can help us to be doctors of sorts, to analyze the way that our students communicate. We can diagnose variations in the students, we can diagnose what they're feeling, and by virtue of this, we can provide information to the students on how we can help them along in the acquisition of intercultural communication. How good or bad have their experiences been relative to specific cultural artifacts? How resilient the students are when encountering intercultural artifacts? And how is what we are doing as teachers helping or hurting the students? And with this in mind, I think that it's useful to think of this text analysis tool as, sorry, it doesn't reach all the way over there. It's useful to think of this tool as an MRI of sorts. Can we advance the slide? And this doctor metaphor, I think, is good, actually, because if you think about the places in the brain where these different practices are stored, emotion is actually related to that part of the brain. Forward again. Cognition is related to that part of the brain, and again. And nouns and adjectives and verbs are stored in this part of the brain, and actually articles, pronouns, and prepositions are stored in that part of the brain, and again. So Luke, in a way, is an MRI for our students, understanding how our students are interacting in the classroom, and again. Luke has been used on a limited basis in intercultural communication classrooms, but when it has been used, we have found interesting things. So, for instance, one study reviewed responses of the emotional states after tragedies in a series of European nations, and we found that actually emotional recovery across different cultures is quite similar, but cognitive recovery is different. So the way that different cultures recover relative to cognition is different, but we're actually, as humans, quite similar in our response to emotion. Next slide, please. So let's talk about this study, Resilience First at a German university. And again. So we were studying an international business management class which rotates across 4 nations: China, Germany, Poland, and the United States, and there are students from each of these nations. Students throughout the experience keep reflective journals, and this provides an opportunity for monitoring their cultural resilience across the countries and across the experience. There is approximately 1 entry per month. Next slide, please. Today, I will focus on the students' time in Germany, the first country they went to, with an idea of identifying what we know about their experience over the first 3 months of their experience. Next slide, please. Now, we can see that at the end of the first month, the students are the most emotional, but the students are also the most present. We know that from looking at the kinds of verbs that they use. They use a lot of present tense verbs at that time. We know that the students are actually, at the end of the first month, thinking about the experience the least. They're feeling the experience rather than thinking about it. Also, we know that in the first month, there's lots of I and we. There's lots of relationship talk among the students. By the end of the second month, the students are no longer present. They're not using present tense verbs. They're not using prepositions that make them indicate that they're feeling present. They're talking a lot about their past relationships, and they're talking about what they will do in the future, rather than being present. This is also the point when they begin thinking about the experience the most. They go into their heads rather than be existing in the situation. The use of we drops. They no longer feel a close relationship with the students that they're working with. And then at the end of the third month, we see that this is when they begin othering. This is when they categorize their fellow students as others rather than being part of the same group. Next slide, please. So we can look at this, and among other things, we see a steady rise in the complexity of the text. Adverbs, conjunctions, adjectives, comparisons, and what we can pull away from this is that the longer the students are there, the less they are there as people and emotionally, and the more they are trying to categorize and create taxonomies for the situation that they are in. We see a steady drop in emotional tone and articles and prepositions and emotion, positive emotion, and what this tells us is that the students are actually getting very heady, and they're trying to think about, they're doing less and thinking more. Next slide, please. So, as a summary of the German situation, we see physical and emotional presence in the first text. The second and third texts get very heady. What about positive interventions? What does this tell us as educators? Potentially it tells us about the value of mindfulness and helping students to be present in the classroom the more that we are teaching to them. Potentially, we're still working this out. We also note that groups begin to wear on each other by the third text. There's lots of categorizing and othering, and this intersects with a lot of the literature on intercultural communication and how when we arrive in a place, we go through a honeymoon period, and then after the honeymoon period, we begin to evolve. And this might give us some positive ideas about what we can do to help that evolution. Next slide, please. So let's look at another context. Let's look at an Australian context and how this has been used in Australia. Next slide, please. So we teach a unit at Monash University called Translating Across Cultures. This is called a capstone unit. We do it at the end of the undergraduate degree for our students. All of the language students have to take this unit before they graduate. And what we do is the students have to, it's designed so the students learn how to use translation as an analytical tool to better understand culture. Throughout this semester, the students complete 4 reflective tasks on 4 different cultural artifacts, namely on food, status, leisure, and danger. We put the students through activities, and then we make the students write about those activities. And we analyze those journals. Today, I will focus on 2 of these tasks, food and status. So how do the students reflect and talk about their interaction with food and their interaction with status? Next slide, please. So, using Luke, a comparison of food and status reflection texts reveals some things that you would expect at first. Not surprising things, but it feeds into the validity of the tool. So the status texts show a concern with categories such as social affiliation, drive, and power, all of the things that you would expect if you give students a task on status. The food texts show a concern with the body, health, and ingestion. Not surprising, of course, with food. Next slide, please. But what's really interesting and what this text analysis tool begins to tell us in a more nuanced way is actually interacting with food causes the Australian students to be destabilized more than status. Students deal better with the status exercise than they do with the food exercise. They were twice as negative about the food exercise as the status text when we analyzed the text. And we found that the food task was actually much more difficult to write about than the status text. Students also, when they did write about it, they wrote about food with much less confidence than they did about the status text. And they also sounded less authentic about it. And what this means is when the students were writing about the food text, when they did write about it, they seemed like they were just dibuat-buat, yeah, faking it. So, they were also, with the food text, oddly enough, very prescriptive about what people should or should not eat. But strangely, they were not sure about it. So they were saying on the one hand, people should not eat that, but I don't know, maybe they can. So what we find from this is that this task actually completely destabilized the students in comparison to this status text. So maybe we can follow some of the reasons for this. Next slide, please. Discussions of food were written in the present tense, really focusing on a here and now. But the status texts were actually forged in the present, but also the past. So when people were talking, or the students were writing about the status text, what they were doing was they were talking about it here, but they were trying to make sense of it when we looked at it through closer discourse analysis about what they understood from the past. So they were drawing from the past into the present. And what do I know about the past that helps me frame this now? Next slide, please. Status discussions were heavy in adjective and article use, comparisons, interrogations, and quantification. Once again, this points us in the direction of seeing that the students are using their nouns and their adjectives to try to describe and frame the experience and understand the experience. Food discussions were heavy in auxiliary verbs, verb and adverb use, and functional morphemes, and this actually represented a focus on doing things. Once again, with status, they're framing the experience. With food, they're doing it, and it's destabilizing them. Next, please. So what does any of this mean, right? What is this telling us? What direction is it pushing us in? Next slide, please. Well, today I've set out two segments of my research team's workbench on measuring cultural literacy. And we're in the process of developing positive interventions. So among other things, our preliminary thoughts are these. Next slide, please. Measuring cultural resilience across the intercultural experience reveals changes in emotion, cognition, and bodily presence, whether the students are physically and bodily present in a place or whether they're locked up in their head and they're in their head thinking and trying to categorize the world rather than experiencing the world. So that perhaps suggests we should be thinking about mindfulness and the relationship of mindfulness or some other method to try to help the students be present. Some cultural artifacts destabilize the students more than others. So this suggests to us that maybe we need to think more sophisticatedly about the way that students engage in one cultural artifact and the other, and this might tell us something about the way that we introduce these cultural artifacts as teachers. And the really interesting finding, and something we need to pursue, is how the students conceptualize the relationship between things that happened in the past, things that they know from the past, and how and the degree to which they use these to understand the present. Next slide. Thanks. I'm happy to take any questions. Makasih.
Thank you, Dr. Howard Mans. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was the presentation from Dr. Howard Mans. Please give him a big applause again. Okay, now we invite the second presenter, Dr. Teresa Soikeri. But before this, let me read his curriculum vitae. Dr. Teresa Soikeri is a lecturer at the Faculty of Education and Development Science, Kasesa University, Kampengsan campus. His expertise is in digital learning for developed competency 21st century skill and also the innovation and information technology in education. Dr. Teresa got his Doctor of Education in Educational Technology Kasesa University, Thailand in 2015 and also got Certificate Advanced Educational Technology from University of Northern Colorado, USA in 2012. He wrote journal entitled Mobilizations of the Multilateral Cooperation to Improve Educational Quality of Small-Sized Schools in Northern Pathan Province. And also another journal entitled STEM Education, Innovation Education for Young Generation in ASEAN. His book is entitled Quick and Easy Flash Max. Yeah, Flash Max. Okay, get it. MX. Okay, thank you. Okay, Dr. Teresa Soikeri is going to present a topic on teacher competencies in the 21st century. Dr. Teresa, please.
Hello, selamat pagi. And Thai people say sawadi. Sawadi, yes. Okay. My name is Thirasak Soikeri. You can call me just T. Yeah, T Thailand. Yeah, okay. I think easy for you. Okay. I am lecturer in Kasesa University. I teach my field about innovation, education, educational technology. My jobs in my university, many jobs about teaching, training for student, undergrad, master degree. Sometimes I training for lecturer and develop competency teacher Thailand. Okay. Today I will talk about teacher competency in 21st century. You know, 21st century very change, very disruption, many information like big data, you know. Okay. Today, nowadays, many information allow your internet. For example, we must change because many model, many must change our way. Okay. When I a little boy, for example, when I a little boy, I saw my grandfather, grandfather, them cooking Thai food. Slide please. Okay. 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 Do you like Tom Yam Kung? Okay. Yes. Very famous in Thailand. I think around the world. Okay. When I was a little boy, I saw my grandfather cooking Thai food always every day. I saw, wow, so difficult cooking because Thai food many accessory, many steps for cooking. But sometimes I think grandmother inspire me about I wanna be chef Thai cooking, Thai food. Sometimes I wanna be chef Thai food. Okay, but I saw every day, but so difficult for me. Okay, nowadays, if I want to learn cooking Thai food, please next slide, please. I just typing in YouTube about how to cooking tom yam goong. Yes, many knowledge on YouTube. Yeah, this is amazing because learning change. You know, this learning change. This for good example. Okay, example 2. For example 2. Okay. When I was student undergrad, I study about computer science. You know, computer science, learning about programming. Wanna be programmer. I start to learning programming. Okay, starting learning programming undergrad. You know, I think about 20 years old. But nowadays, my son, 8 years old. Grade 2, just grade 2, can build coding. You know coding? Coding so amazing. Like programming, like start basic Thai programming, but build code. I think so amazing for learning about programming. Just grade 2 can build coding. Wow, so amazing. You know, this is student change. Okay. Tom yam goong, learning change, learning cooking, learning change. My son can learn coding. My son is student change. Okay. Everything change always. Okay. Here's next slide. Okay. I have 8 keywords for you. Simple to learn and easier to remember. Okay, I create and brief for you. Number 1, digital education. This is model about teacher competencies in the 21st century. Okay, number 1, digital education. Please, next slide. Okay, next. Okay, you know why digital learning is useful for schools and teachers? You know? Why? Okay, many listen. Next slide. Learning made simple, easy, and interesting. Okay, are you okay? Next, listen. Customized learning made personalized. Many students can learning by self because knowledge. Wow, so like an overload, like a big data, no, student can find knowledge everything. Next. Okay. Listen. Freedom of learning. Yes, can learning anywhere, anytime. Sometimes you want to learning, you just connect internet, connect Wi-Fi. You can learning, you can search, you can. Okay, many things you want to know. You can just smartphone. I think smartphone is device nowadays so cheaper. Okay, next. Digital can analyze reports. I think many data can summarize by digital. For example, infographic. Infographic like digest knowledge, just one page and paperless. Okay, good. Next slide, please. Choice of future education. Yes, many leadership use technology, use digital for develop education. I think that's good for another country. Next slide. Current on demand. Yes, many information so update. Okay, next slide. Cost of learning. Yes, learning so cheaper because people would like to know everything, can use internet, everything. Okay, next. Scalable. Yes, so scalable for can teach. Teacher can teach allow anywhere, anytime. Teacher can teach. Sometimes many cannot teach in classroom. You can teach outdoor. You can teach another country. Teacher, I think good for teacher. Okay, next. Okay, this is a tool. In Thailand, many teacher, many lecturer use digital this tool. I said digital brainstorming. This is free for teaching, but just for 40% student. Okay, who everywhere is good. This is tool for brainstorming and some you recognize about sometimes you want brainstorming in your classroom. You use paper, many paper brainstorming. Sometimes so difficult because many paper in your classroom. But if you use poll everywhere, that's good and easy, paperless. Wow, so amazing. This is digital brainstorming. Please next. Okay, this for example, my student brainstorming everything in my classroom. Wow, many students can show opinion, show everything in classroom. I think. Okay, next slide. Yes, and create like a mind map, mapping digital mind map. So easy and many knowledge, many skill, many attitude in my map. Okay, that's good. Next. Okay, next. Okay, I suggest to number 2, digital quiz. Okay, digital quiz in my classroom. Very famous. You know Kahoot? Yes, Kahoot very famous. But like a game in classroom. So challenge and educator call quiz game called Kahoot name Gamification. Yes, game and application called gamification. Okay, that's good. I use in my classroom. My students so exciting, funny, enjoy in classroom. Next slide. Yes, show point, show many things, and sometimes I check like a attendance checker in classroom because my student must join. Okay, next. Yes. Okay, you can play video. Next. Okay, this is small school in Thailand. Yes. Yes. They will say yes. Also funny in classroom. Just anything. Just grade 3, 4, or 5. Yes. You know, can use technology in classroom for students. Just grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Oh, okay. Student can use. Next slide. Okay. Okay, next slide. Okay, you know, picker that's good for student because student not have smart device. Student can have card for show student. Next slide. Yes. This is a lecturer want to know about technique teaching, digital learning. Yeah, just show. No device. Teacher scan. No to answer everyone. But this amazing. Digital for teacher, for student, but student no have device can use digital. Okay, next slide. It's in my classroom, so enjoy. My student about mathematics education. Yes, enjoy with picker in classroom. Okay, I think that's good. That's good for teacher, for sheep and student cannot device can use. Okay, next slide. Okay, quizzes. You know, quizzes like Kahoot, but can use by student. Student must have a device like laptop, everything. Laptop, smartphone, computer. Okay, next slide. This is a development in I am 10 about I quiz in my classroom. Yes, students so like and show information, show report, show statistic, everything. It's free quizzes in Thailand, very famous, especially university like this quizzes. Next slide. Okay, I check my student about application, another application. Quizzes favorite for teacher and for student. Number 1, quizzes and free. I think good for teacher, for lecturer. That's good. Next slide. Yes, you can work on our device because free. Yeah, many devices can use quizzes. Next slide. Okay, Padlet tool digital free. You can create mind map, brainstorming, and show picture something if you want in classroom. Student interactive in my classroom. Okay, his next slide. Students show opinion, comment, picture, everything. Next slide. Yes, this is show. I think good for show picture like a mind map, brainstorming. Okay, next. Yes. You know, Barker? Barker, I think this good. I think this digital classic because 10 years ago I used Barker. I start to learn and use Barker. Barker is good because student can like a website, like a developed website. Long time ago when I want to publish knowledge something by website, I typing like programming HTML. Sometimes I use Dreamweaver like a create website. I think blogger that's good for create knowledge and publish knowledge. Good knowledge. I think good knowledge for around the world. Your homework, your assignment. Sometimes you student can create many knowledge and show another people. That's good. Next. Okay, it's simple. Many blog made by my student. Okay, next. Okay, do you know Socrative? So it's good. Like many tests, multiple choice, open end. Many tools for assignment. That's good. It's good, very good for I think for student, for undergrad, for master degree. So creative, yes, good. Next. Okay, this is the example in classroom. Sometimes I feel okay, so try about check name my student. I use digital. Yes, you know. I call it this one digital attendance checker. Just show QR code. Yes, his next slide. Student showed like a customer in company. Check. Student go to my classroom. Just check, show QR code. Okay, comfortable. Okay, next. Yes, this is like QR code. Just QR code. This application I'm not sure about. Okay, I think checker. You can search Google Play, App Store. You type attendance checker. Show many applications. Okay. Next slide. Okay. Seesaw that's good for student because many I call this e-homework. Many assignment you can use Seesaw. For example, show picture, show drawing, show typing, show video, to show voice, send to teacher. I think good. Like LMS, Learning Management System. Wow, so good and easy. So template, so easy. I think I like Seesaw. Okay, next slide. Okay. Number 2 about competency. Teacher competency. Creativity. I think very important because nowadays many technology, many robots still job people around the world. But human can win because robot and technology nowadays not yet about creativity. I think you must develop your student creativity. You know the activity. His next slide. Create, design, like art, news, think news always, and have project new like innovation. That's good for your student in the future. Next slide. Transparent assessment. Number 3. You must show point show everything after test. You show like a real time. I think that's good because students want to know and improve and develop. I think that's good. Transparent assessment is good. Next slide. Student management. Yeah. You want, okay, I'm just lecturer in class, in university, but I go to my classroom. I like CEO, you know, CEO, director. I manage my classroom, especially many students have another many identity. Sometimes my student fluency about technology can editor movie and programming. I design group. Oh, okay, you excellent. You this group for with some student cannot use technology. Help together. Student help student. This is good for teaching. Sometimes student teach lecturer. Teach. Okay, next slide. Yes, this my student. Yes, help together. It is good. Okay. I think develop kindness skill. Okay. Next. Yes. Okay. Next. Yes. Okay. Keyword. Empathy. I think empathy very important because empathy like a teacher take care student and like a coach, like a mentor, like a facilitator. That's good for student. You take care always. Student develop and like go to goal. Okay, thank you. Next slide. Okay, this keyword PLC. PLC very famous in Thailand. PLC mean professional learning community. Sometimes student, sometimes community teacher can develop many teacher. Wow, so excellent about teaching. You can create group, just group, a small group for KM, you know, knowledge management. That's good for another teacher. Sometimes all teacher cannot use technology. You can create just small group and create and train all teacher. I think all teacher want to know techniques about digital learning. Next slide. Okay, learning resource is very important in classroom because many resource sometimes student cannot know I think data. You help student suggest about
I'm sorry,
new
Dr.
resource.
Terasak.
Yes. Okay,
You still
thank
have
you.
3 minutes
Okay,
left.
lifelong learning. Okay, the lifelong learning that's good for teacher because lifelong learning is love learning, love learning, love leading. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I finished about my topic. Okay. สวัสดีครับ
Thank you, Dr. Terasak Soitleri. Give big applause to him.
Thank you so much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we invite the third presenter. Okay, before that, let me read his curriculum vitae from Dr. Mohammad Azhar bin Yusuf. Dr. Mohammad Azhar bin Yusuf got his doctor in the field of pedagogy in physical education in National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. He is a senior lecturer in physical education and sports science, academic group at the National Institute of Education. Dr. Azhar taught in school for a number of years and headed the physical education and co-curricular department before joining National Institutes of Education. His excellent teaching has won him the NIE Excellence in Teaching Commendation twice and the Nanjing Education Award, both at the school and college level. He has since been a fellow in Nanjing Teaching Excellence Academy and helps drive improvements in teaching and learning. Dr. Azhar has a strong background in sports, having represented Singapore in rugby for a number of years. He holds coaching qualification in kayaking, rugby, sailing, soccer, and strength and conditioning, and has been involved in coaching curriculum development work for Sports Singapore and a number of national sports associations. At the international level, Dr. Azhar is a trainer with World Rugby and helped deliver World Rugby courses for match officials, coach for match official, and strength and conditioning coaches both locally and overseas since 2008. Dr. Azhar is currently on secondment of Sports Singapore as head of its coaching academy, Coach Singapore. Dr. Muhammad Azhar bin Yusuf is going to present a topic on leveraging on technology to enhance pedagogy, the e-systematic lessons observation tool, ESOLT. Okay, Dr. Muhammad Azhar, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good to hear that you're still alive and kicking. Dr. Howard asked me just a short while ago, am I going to get you guys fit at the same time as sharing with you on technology? Maybe the answer is yes, yeah. I'm from the physical education and sports science faculty, so that's why we all dress like this. We are ready to exercise. So in my short sharing, I'll be asking you to do a couple of movements, yeah? And I hope you will join me in those movements. All right, but first and foremost, many thanks to the organizers for inviting me to your wonderful city of Semarang. I love Indonesia. I've been to Jogja, I've been to Surabaya, Bali, Bandung, and I keep coming back because I love the place, I love the country, I love the people, and I love the food. Yeah. So thank you very much. So, can we have the slides? Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about this and share with you what we've been doing in terms of leveraging on technology to help teaching and learning a lot better. So I come from the Teacher Training Institute, and we train teachers and sports scientists and coaches. So in the next slide. So this is the Singapore skyline. So I'd like you to participate with me now. So if you have been to Singapore before, can you please stand up? If you have been to Singapore, can you please stand up? Don't be shy. Can you please stand up? Not just raise your hand, stand up. Stand up, please. Are we more comfortable with raising? Okay, put up your hands if you've been to Singapore before. Very good. All right, put down your hands. In 2010, tourist numbers in Singapore, the country that provides the most number of tourists to Singapore is Indonesia. In 2010, all right? So put up your hands again, those who have been to Singapore, put up your hands. Yeah, okay. So these are the people that resulted in Indonesia being number one coming to Singapore as tourists, yeah? Unfortunately now, Indonesia is number 3. China is number 1, India is number 2, and Indonesia is number 3, right? So if you look at the skyline, can we have the big picture of the big slide of the skyline? Not me, the one before? Go back one, yeah. So Put up your hands if you would love to go to Singapore. If you really, isn't it nice, the skyline? Put up your hands if you like to come to Singapore. Put up your hands if you like to come to Singapore if I pay for everything. So if this happens, then Indonesia will go back to number one in terms of number of tourists, yeah? All right. So Singapore 3 years ago positioned itself as aiming to be the world's first smart nation. And in order to do that, we need technology. When we need to use technology as an enabler. 3 days ago, Singapore hosted a symposium. The next slide, please. Or summit, rather. So Singapore, 3 days ago on Wednesday, Singapore hosted the Smart Nation Summit. And our Prime Minister was the guest of honor. And in his speech, the next slide, he talked about three things, three ingredients in the recipe to Singapore's success. Number one, Singapore needs to have very strong engineering capabilities. And number two, Singapore needs to have more leaders and managers who understand technology. And I think what you are doing here in terms of organizing the 5th International Conference on Science, Education and Technology is a big step because that's the way forward to become smart nations. And thirdly, he says that the last key ingredient is society needs to embrace science and technology and not to fear it, not to be afraid of science and technology. Right, so those are three ingredients. Next slide. So what's Singapore's digital capabilities, if we may ask? So this is what it is. In terms of internet penetration rate, Singapore has 81.2%. In terms of internet speed, is 20.3 megabyte per second. So it's quite fast, yeah? In terms of smartphone penetration, 90%. So 9 out of 10 Singaporeans have a smartphone, right? So we're well connected. And the most active users of internet and technology are actually ages between 25 to 34, which pretty much would be many of you here, yeah? And the most popular being Facebook. So this morning, Dr. T has already included him in his Facebook. So that's how connected we are and we can become. Right? So these are the Singapore's digital capabilities. Next slide. So the question, sorry, go back one slide. Next, go back. So the question that we have at NIE, at NTU is, if these are indeed the digital capabilities that Singapore has, how do we capitalize on this for education? For teaching, for coaching, for learning and development. All right, next slide. Next slide. So Schulman in 2002 at a symposium in US talks about learning. And he says, learning from experience is terribly difficult. Put up your hands if you agree with this. Learning from experience is terribly difficult. This morning we had two speakers already, Dr. Howard and Dr. T speak to us, yeah? So all of you have experienced it, agree? So can you tell me what Dr. Howard said in the 4th minute of his presentation? Can anyone remember? Put up your hands. So you have all experienced it, but we can't recall exactly. If I were to ask you what Dr. T said in the 15th minute of his presentation, how many of you can remember? One person can remember. Very good. We should give a prize to that person. Yeah? But most of us cannot remember. We will remember the general message and we want to find out more, but we can't remember specifics. And Dr. Howard talked about capturing what are the instances or when are the instances where the cultural learning is most effective. So we need to think about how we can capture that. And we at NIE, we're exploring technology to capture that. Aligned with what Shulman said. The next slide, please. So Shulman says that learning from experience is terribly difficult and it is like dry ice. Does everyone know what dry ice is? Yep. So the minute you have it, as soon as you have it, it's gone. All right? It disappears. So in order for us to be able to examine, to analyze, and reflect on our experiences, we need artifacts. We need things for which we can refer to. Yeah? Next slide. So in order for us to be a reflective practitioner, either as a student or as an educator, we need artifacts. So where do that come from? Next slide. So what are the tools that we need to use in order to help us to become a lot more reflective or to become that reflective practitioner? Next slide. So systematic observer systems will be one tool in which we can use. And there are many, many different types of systematic observer systems. Next slide. So it was first introduced way back in the 1960s. And one of the first few things that they came up with is the management strategies checklist. For many of us in education or in teaching or in coaching, we know that that is the most challenging, to be able to manage our class, to be able to manage our students, to be able to manage my team of athletes if I'm in a sporting context. So that's the most challenging, and that's why they came up with it first. Then over the years, they came up with classroom climate, academic learning time, managing time, and so on. So I'm going to show you a series of slides that will show the different tools that are used to evaluate, to analyze, to capture some of this data. Next slide. So this is the management strategies checklist. Next slide. Classroom climate. Next slide. Timeline for time management. Next slide. This is the summary of the time management. Next slide. This is the questioning skills. What are the questions that teachers ask the students? Next slide. Feedback, right? Feedback that you give as a coach or as a teacher. Next slide. So all those tools are pen and paper tools. And they all translate to look like that. If I were to capture any data, it will look like that. So it becomes, number one, very onerous, very tedious, and very complicated. But it can be done. Many of the educators have done this before in the past. Yeah? Next slide. So at the end of computing that observation and analyzing, then you start to calculate the percentages of time spent in the different areas. Yeah? So again, this is all pen and paper. So what we decided was, let's embrace science and technology. Let's explore the affordance of technology to make us work a little bit easier, make our job a little bit simpler and more effective. So we came out with this. The next slide. The E-Systematic Lesson Observation Tools, right? Or E-Slot for short. So I work with our department at the university. These are software developers, software engineers, and they developed this tool for us. Yeah, so with the tool, next slide, it allows us to systematically look at any lesson or any training session, be it in a school context or in a sports coaching context, allow us to look at that, and we can include pictures, we can include videos, and it gives us real-time data on what's happening in the class. Yeah, so all of this culminate into the production or the development of this tool. Next slide. And we have a suite of tools. So all the forms that you saw just now that I showed you that has been developed by research, we have put them all electronically. Yeah, next slide. So what happens now is, instead of carrying lots of papers and lots of forms and lots of pens, I now just bring along a tablet with me, an iPad or a tablet with me, and the interface is essentially a series of buttons. So the minute I see you behaving in a certain way, I press a button. I see you moving in a certain way, I press a button. I can flip it up, I can video record, I can take a picture of what's going on. And then when I share it with you, you'll be able to recall in the 4th minute of the presentation what happened, in the 15th minute of the presentation or in your teaching, what exactly happened. I can recall better. And that makes for richer interaction between me as a mentor, as a teacher educator, to my students, or to any teacher or coach for that matter. Yeah? So, next slide. So this is a video to show you how it works, yeah?
I think technology is a wonderful thing, and I think we should be leveraging on technology to enhance the things that we've been doing. So the use of iPad is really fantastic in that it allows us to do many things that the traditional pen and paper is not able to do in terms of capturing pictures and videos. So that's something that we should be leveraging on. So I think it has a lot of potential. The fact that it gives instant summary of the percentages for management, cognitive, as well as motor language time. It gives us a lot more accurate and feedback about that lesson. And therefore, the person can reflect on the lesson more accurately. And for instances where that person perhaps cannot recall what has happened, then the pictures and the videos can be used to show and get that discussion to be a lot more meaningful.
It has been an interesting experience because it's an innovative thing to be able to observe our peers with ICT tools.
I think this is a good tool to use in PE observation, and I hope to use it in my own teaching.
I'm very sure and I'm very confident that it will benefit the teaching profession or the teaching fraternity in terms of capturing very accurately and very systematically and objectively the lesson that has just taken place, and allows for a richer discussion afterwards that will definitely contribute to more effective and better teaching and learning.
So that short video really attempts to capture the affordances of the tool, or what the capabilities of the eSlot is. And as you can see, the students are actively engaged in observing, but not only that, they're actively engaged in recording pictures, images, videos, so that they can then forward to their friends or their fellow teachers for self-reflection, self-evaluation. And for us as lecturers, it's about helping them to become better teachers and to help to coach and mentor them to be that. Yeah, so we feel that this is the way forward. It started with the PE and Sports Science academic group, and therefore our PE teachers. And this was 5 years ago. Now the tool is being used in a number of schools in Singapore, looking at all sorts of subjects, including math, science, music, art, because it is able to capture the rich and the dynamic interaction in the teaching and learning context in school, in class, and on the pitch, on the sports field. Yeah. So my last point to you is really that, as Dr. T has also shared, the many things that you can do with technology. I think increasingly, or as a 21st century educator or even a student, we need to embrace technology and leverage on the affordances of technology to make teaching and learning a lot stronger, a lot better, a lot more effective. Yeah. So with that, you can ask me questions later, and that leads me to thank you once again. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Azhar. Please give big applause to him. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now let's continue the session question and answer. Before you ask questions or give comment, please mention your name and your institution. For the first, I would like to give it the session to 3 people. Okay, the guy over there, and then the lady. Okay, 3 of you, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you will be the first, Papa.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Rizky. You can call me Rizky. I am from Indonesia. My university UNES. My question for all speaker. Technology development that move so fast will central have a tremendous impact on human education, especially in advanced regional. Dalam bahasa Indonesia, teknologi berkembang dengan sangat pesat, terkhusus pada daerah-daerah yang berkembang atau daerah maju. Bagaimana tanggapan pembicara? But how are the response and solution speaker about a race that are still laying bid and difficult access to be able to keep up with the development of revolusi industri 4.0 in humanity education. Bagaimana respon dan juga tanggapan pembicara mengenai perkembangan revolusi industri di daerah yang terpencil, susah akses terhadap pendidikan kemanusiaan. Mohon solusi dan juga tanggapannya. Terima kasih. Apabila ada salah kata, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ibu, the second one.
Okay, thank you. Before I'm going to deliver my questions, my name is Sylvia Nanda Putri Erito. I'm from English Department of Postgraduate Faculty, State Semarang University UNES. Well, actually, thank you for the speakers today for delivering the materials. My questions delivered to Dr. T. Yes, about the development of technology. So, actually, my questions is little bit same with the previous question before. It is about how to teach the remote place. I will give you some cases of if I've been teaching in a remote place as a volunteer. And then there the students cannot develop or they haven't yet getting some, the advance of technology there. And then the teacher use, old strategy to teach the students in the remote place. And then my question is, how should the teacher do to the students in which their thinking haven't yet developed about the advance of technology. So how to solve these problems and what the teacher should do to teach the students in a remote place. That's all my questions and thank you.
Thank you. The third one.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for all the three speakers, and my question goes to Mr. Howard Mans, PhD from Monash University, Australia. And before I talk a lot, thank you for this golden opportunity, and I'm really glad and honored to be here and speak in front of the respected people. And actually, to be honest, this is my first time heard about linguistic inquiry word count. And based on your presentation, linguistic inquiry word count can reveal positive and negative emotion among students through the words. And I think it's related to psychological condition. And I'm sorry, I'm introduce myself first. My name is Mayang Tamara Afriwilda, and I'm from Guidance and Counseling Department. And I think if we talk about counseling, it really helps us to analyze what students feel at the time. And my question is it possible to be developed linguistic inquiry word count in another field of science or technological purposes, such as like counseling? Thank you. That's all my question.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Here we have three persons or people for asking you questions, especially from Rizky, Bapak Rizky from UNES here. He delivers the question from 40 of you, but maybe I will divide into one because you have also a question, and then Dr. T also has a question, and then maybe you may answer the question from Pak Rizky UNES. Yeah. This is actually the same question with Ibu Silviana, how to teach in the remote areas. And then what is your suggestion or your advice here in order to improve the kinds of revolution of Industry 4.0?
All right, Rizky, where are you?
Pak Rizky.
Pak Rizky, yeah, Rizky. Just to clarify, you talk about how do we overcome the challenge of lack of technology, am I right? Yeah. So if it's a lack of technology, it is not no technology. So that tells me that there is some kind of technology, there is some access that you have, but it's limited. So I think to make it more accessible may be challenging for you because you may not be in a position to improve or increase that. So my advice would be, with whatever limited access you have, try to make full use of it, right? See how best you can leverage on those limited access to enhance your teaching and learning, to enhance the environment that you're operating in.
Is that clear for the answer, Bapak Rizky? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Azhar. Yeah. Okay, we come to the second question from Ibu Silviana for Dr. T. Yeah. Yeah, so how to teach in the remote areas? Actually, it's the same questions. And then how should the teacher in developing technology and how to solve the problem?
Remote.
In a remote area.
Remote area. Oh,
Remote.
Distance learning? Like a
Yes,
distance
right.
learning?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you for question. Okay. Remote all area. I think like a e-learning. E-learning? No? Far away. Use. Okay. What is technology for remote? Okay. Many applications can remote another country and many places. Okay. For example, sometimes I use. Do you know application Zoom? Yes, Zoom. Zoom can conference, can learning real time by application. But sometimes I ask my student, you like distance learning about Zoom, about technology? But sometimes students said me, like a little, because students want to, would like to learning face to face with me. I think, okay, technology that's good for another country, but I think should have face to face like name traditional education. That's good. I think you should mix about technology and traditional technology, like called blended learning. That's good. I think that's good for you. And you please check your context, you feedback your student. I think that's good for design your classroom from my goal. Okay?
Yes, Ibu Silviana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it okay? Okay, thank you. Right. Oh, you want to add?
Maybe I can add
Okay.
something because I think Dr. Inda, you shared with everyone that I'm a trainer with World Rugby. And I do run courses for World Rugby in remote places where there's no technology.
No technology at all.
Yeah, you go over there, you've got your PowerPoint and you got a video, and they don't have anything that supports that.
Yeah.
So what do you do? And I like to think that the key thing about the use of technology in teaching and learning is the interactivity. But if you do not have that because you lack access or you lack facilities, then really try to just think about that interaction and the interactivity. You can still use the ideas of Kahoot, the quizzes, but do it without technology. Do it in an interactive way so that we engage our learners for better teaching and learning.
Okay. So still keeping the interaction with the students without the technology one. Okay, right. Okay. Right. Okay, thank you, Dr. Azhar. And then for the third questions for Dr. Howard.
Yang pertama, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Ya, bagus sekali itu. Tetapi maaf, saya harus menjawab dalam bahasa Inggris. I think that it has positive impact on the students in a few different ways. The first way that it has a positive impact on the student is that we can monitor the learning process of the student in real time. And when we get our students to write reflective essays, we can do this on a week-to-week basis, and we can analyze the student essays to get a sense of how they are interacting with the topic. And it doesn't matter if the topic is in linguistics or intercultural communication or media. We can use this system to understand the student experience, the student's cognitive and emotional experience related to the topic, and we can respond. In part, our influence for this topic, our influence for using linguistic inquiry word count came from monitoring Indonesian and Australian media. We used the tool and we developed an Indonesian language version of the tool to monitor conservative and liberal newspapers in Australia, but also we developed an Indonesian language version of the tool to monitor Kompas and Jawa Pos here, so Australians could understand what was happening and respond. And we have taken these ideas and we have tried to bring them into the classroom. The second way that this can help students, whether they be in social psychology or any field, any faculty, is that we teach the students to use the tool. One of the outcomes of the project that I worked on for the Australian and Indonesian government was to take the tool and teach students to be able to read what was happening in the Jawa Post, in the Kompas. I sometimes am the coordinator of Indonesian studies, and we developed one of the units to teach the students fluctuations, how to use this tool to read the fluctuations, so the changes in Indonesian and Australian attitudes based on specific events. So that way, we can teach our students as professionals working in media, working in government, working wherever, mana-manapun, that they can be able to provide positive response and hopefully positive interventions to improve the classroom, but also to improve society. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Dr. Howard. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are running out of time for the first plenary session. And once more, please give a big applause for those three inspiring speakers, presenters. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for all speakers and also the moderator. Please give applause. And please remain on stage. We would like to invite the Director of UNES Graduate School, Professor Dr. Ahmad Slamet MSI, to hand the token of appreciations for all speakers on stage. So for all speakers, please remain on stage. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for all speakers for the insightful presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the second plenary session that will be moderated by Mr. Fahru Rozi, PhD, with three keynote speakers. Dr. Pedram Kashyani from Islamic Azad University, Iran, and Associate Professor Dr. Arasina Bidi Kamis from UPSI, and Dr. Hendi Pratama MA from UNES. For the moderator, please welcome to the stage, and the time is yours.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to be a moderator in the second plenary talk. In this session, we have outstanding presentation from three keynote speakers. And I like to believe that their presentation enrich our insight and knowledge regarding to the theme of this conference. The first speaker is Dr. Pedram Kasyani. He is a faculty of Islamic Azad University, Iran. His field of specialization is genetic and molecular breeding advanced statistics, and he is senior lecturer at Department of Agriculture Science, Faculty of Technical and Vocational Education, Sultan Idris Education, University, Malaysia. His PhD in genetic and plant breeding from University Putra Malaysia in 2012. His Master of Science in Agronomy Engineering from Islamic Azad University, Iran, and his Bachelor of Science in Agronomy and Plant Breeding from Islamic Azad University. He has published many articles in journal Scopus Index, and also he has written many books. But unfortunately, he cannot attend this conference. But don't worry, we have his presentation video, and we will play the video for you. Pak Subinar, please.
Yeah. Just say hi.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Okay, could you please say something?
Hello, good morning.
Professor Dr. Fatul Rahman, Honorable Rector of Universitas Negeri Semarang, Professor Dr. Ahmad Salamat, Director of Graduate School, Universitas Negeri Semarang, dear Organizing Committee of the 5th International Conference on Science, Education and Technology, distinguished invited speakers, respectful member of Department of Biology, Universitas Negeri Semarang, all delightful participants of the conference, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning and my best greetings. First, I would like to thank you for having me and also apologize for not being able to attend the conference in person. The topic of my presentation is virtual reality as an effective educational tool in teaching and learning biological sciences. As teachers and lecturers, we understand the importance of teaching basic skills like reading, writing, and mathematics. But if we provide the students with only the basics, then they will suffer from a huge gap in the knowledge and skills they need to function well in the 21st century workplace. As lecturers and teachers, we would like to see students full of energy, engaging in the classroom, and they are full of new ideas and want to learn more. What we see these days actually is this photo. For many students, science is found to be boring, ineffective, and expensive. The reality out there in too many universities around the world, students are bored in science subjects. They are disengaged and sometimes not even sure why they are learning about the topic in the first place. I am emphasizing on science, and you may ask yourself why. Improving science education, especially biological science education, is very important nowadays. If you think about it, the world is growing incredibly fast. And with this fast growth is coming a list of growing challenges. Global warming, hunger, starvation, water shortages, new diseases, just to name a few. And who is going to help us solve all these problems and challenges? We have to answer this question. Who are going to help us? Well, you, young scientists, or better called the next generation young scientists. You bright young scientists are going to help us solve all these problems ahead of us with new innovations and ideas and with your rightful minds. At the computer age, at the era of technology, technology can help classrooms to be made to be more like real-world environments and better prepare students to enter an increasingly connected and globally competitive workplace. When innovation comes to the classroom, what we call it a smart classroom actually. And a smart classroom needs a basic requirements which are not cheap, as maybe the honorable rector knows about. But you should remember that spending an investment in a smart classroom can save costs, especially in long term, through paper-free education, easy management of the student, simple monitoring of the student, and also easy analysis of education process. The basic model of a smart classroom is all about sharing information with the students through online or through computers or using different softwares. And we hope that this make our students interactive and having a fun learning. They can do research and evaluations. And at the same time, the lecturer has the ability to control and monitor their students in the real life. And by introducing smart classrooms in schools and universities, so many educators started to look around to make new ways and get the use of this technology. What we did, we converted books to e-books. Blackboard converted into YouTube videos. And lecture halls, monologuous lecture halls, are being moved to massive open online courses. And if you really think about this, and all we are doing here, we are just taking the same contents and the same format and bring it just to more students, which is great. Please don't get me wrong. This is really great, but teaching methods are more or less the same. Today, there are different online educational tools that you can go and get, among which are virtual laboratories. And actually, what are virtual laboratories? Virtual laboratories are fully interactive simulations in which students perform experiments, collect data, and answer questions to assess their understanding. Just to share with you the environment of a virtual laboratory, you can look at here that you can see, oh, I have my pipette here, there is a PCR machine, there I have next generation sequencing machine. In this virtual laboratory, the student has a notepad where they can study about the subject at the real time. There is a virtual lecturers over there. Actually, the lecturers can teleport themselves into the virtual world and guide and monitor their students there. And not only that, now the students can go inside a machine, which is not really possible in the real world. They can go inside a test tube and see for themselves at molecular level, at very, very tiny level. They can see for themselves and understand what is really happening. And then they can perform dangerous experiments in the laboratory. For example, doing experiment with Salmonella bacteria or Ebola virus, which is very important topic, but many schools and universities cannot go and touch it and do some research on it because of the safety reasons. You might have heard about a biosafety level of the laboratory. These kind of experiments can be done in the laboratory with the biosafety level 3. And just to maintain a laboratory with a biosafety level 3, not to furnish it, just to maintain it, we need thousands of dollars annually to be able to have the certificate for biosafety level 3. Since it has been proven by educators that the students' engagement are very important for effective learning, game developers join the game and also started creating fun and engaging stories. For instance, in this example, the students have to solve a mysterious murder case using the core science skills. And you can see many of them sitting and solving these questions here. And the feedback that we received were overwhelming positive. And what I personally love about it, that when the students come up and said that I have spent 2 hours in virtual lab and I didn't check my Facebook. How interesting it is, you know? And this shows that how engaging it really is. To investigate how effective it really is to learn through a virtual laboratory, learning psychologists did studies with students from Stanford University, MIT, Science and Technology University in Denmark. They split the students into 2 groups. Those who only do VR stimulations, and the other group only traditional teaching method, which is blackboard and chalk and the lectures. Spending same amount of time at the 2 groups. The students were tested before and after the experience using a non-parametric herd sample t-test showed that, very surprisingly, high 76% in average increase in learning effectiveness when using virtual lab over traditional teaching methods. And even more interestingly was the second part of this study, where it was investigated what a teacher impact was on learning, and what they found was that when you combine VR with the traditional teaching through a teacher by coaching and mentoring their students, a total of 101% increase in teaching effectiveness, which doubled science teacher impact with the same amount of time spent. This study shows lots of benefit of these virtual stimulators of biological laboratories, among which I can count that expensive laboratory equipment are virtually available for all students. It caused a save of lots of money for chemical disposable, consumables, and practical materials. The students were able to conduct dangerous experiments and learn the basic and advanced concept through remote experiments. Also, we could share costly equipment and resources which were otherwise available just to limited number of users due to constraints on time and geographical distances. And last but not least, we could provide greater tools for teachers and lecturers to enhance the process of learning and teaching. Nowadays, there are many virtual laboratories already developed by different companies and universities. Some of them, like the example that I showed, are not free and you have to get the subscription. But there are some others that they are free that I'm going to show you an example of this now. That you can just access it through your laptop, through your tablet, and do the experiment for yourself and learn about it for yourself. In this free virtual laboratory provided by University of Utah, the students, for example, in this video, are learning about DNA extraction. The student should get the samples from the mouse. After that, they understand that why they are getting the samples like that to get the cell. After that, they understand how to break the cell membranes, or in the plant case, to break the cell walls. And after that, separate the DNA from other debris, which are protein and other organelles of the cells, and how to isolate that DNA and use it. For example, in another laboratory, which is developed by Nova and which is also again free, a difficult concept of evaluation converted to the easy game that the students can learn how actually to make a tree of life and share the genes between the different organisms. At the end of my talk, I would like to emphasize on the fact that virtual laboratories alone for students who are actually not very good in English, because most of the laboratories developed are in English, okay, are not that effective if there is not a smart educator. Actually, smart educators, the lecturer who is able to understand the basic of the science and the basic of the technology and merge them to teach the students. This is what I call a smart educator. These smart educators give actual value to the money that we spend to build a smart classroom and a virtual laboratory. So please don't get me wrong. I don't want to say that the technology replaces the lecturers. The role of a good lecturer is very important, but the lecturer can have these extra tools for having a better experience with the students and also share more knowledge. And on the other hand, the student can learn for the basics in details and solve many confusion in their mind. With that, I'm going to end this talk. I hope I could share a little bit of this virtual world with you. And again, I appreciate you for your time and apologize that I'm not there but in person. However, I am here online. If there is any question, I'm happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Pedram Kasyani presentation. Hopefully, you get information from his presentation. Actually, we have booked his ticket to join this program, and he has agreed to come here, but he has a problem, that is visa. So that's why he cannot join this program in this morning. Okay, now I would like to invite the second speaker. She is Associate Professor Arasinah Binti Kamis. She is a faculty of University Pendidikan Sultan Idris Malaysia. Her field of specialization is home science, education, fashion design, research, methodology, and statistics. Her PhD is from University Putra Malaysia, 2014. Master degree, Master Science from University Putra Malaysia, 2010. And her bachelor is from University Technology Mara, UITM, in 1998. She has written 2 books, and the book is very popular in Malaysia. The title is Clothing Fashion Design Competency Instrument, CFIDC Instrument, publisher University Putra Malaysia, Serdang. And the second one, Manual Penggunaan Instrumen Kompetensi Rekaan Fashion Pakaian, Instrumen KREFP, publisher University Putra Malaysia, Serdang. Professor Arasina has published her article in Scopus Journal in Scopus Index. For example, pembangunan instrumen kecerdasan emosi tenaga pengajar college vocational, International Seminar on Vocational Education for Postgraduate Student. Not to read. Okay, thank you. Okay, she asked me not to read her publishing, so I would like to invite her to present his topic. Professor, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning everybody. So actually we lack of time here, so it's okay. So I think we can just open the slide. So the topics for today, actually the topic is different with my presentation, so it's okay. This is the topic for my presentation today, is digital leadership to keep up with the 4.0 era in education. Next, please. Okay, this is outline of the presentation. For the first presentation is more on leadership. Second one is for teachers and educators. Third one is digital literacy. And the fourth one is learners, learning environment and space, stakeholders and branding. Next, please. Okay, when we talk about the technology that we use today, it's more on that we know that our kids, our students, they're born from the G generation. So they're always using technology in their daily life. So in terms of in the classroom, what do you want kids to do with the technology actually? So there is some positive and negative impact with when they are using the technology. For example, when they use, the kids use technology, they're normally used for start to conversations to each other, find answer to their questions, and sometimes they join partners all over the world, and they will connecting with all the people surround them, even though in locally or globally. And otherwise, sometimes the kids especially, they will change their minds when they are using technology, and then they will take more actions in what they do, and also the technology also will drive the change their mind and make a difference. But you need to consider that the technology is only a tool and not a learning outcomes. So we need to remember, as an educator or as teachers, we need to control it, the use of technology in our home or our students and kids. Next, please. So this is the William Horton, which is the stated, he stated that unless you get instructional design right, as educators, and technology can only increase the speed and certainty of failure. So it means that when you have a good technology, a good tools, when you want to teach in a classroom, you also need good instructional strategies, good instructional designs in your particular courses that you want to teach in the classroom. So not only depend on technology tools. So next, please. So this is a few things nowadays that all the peoples, I think most of you is very familiar with this software, this application, which is you communicate each other, even though with your colleagues, your college, your lecturers, you are always using Snapchat, WhatsApp, Skypes, and so on. And you need to try to manage and try to change your lens when you're using a technology. All right? Okay, this is the leaders. What is the meaning of the leaders? When you're becoming leaders, when you need a title of leaders, you are not leaders. Leaders in this, what I mean in leaders, in this area is more on educators, more on teachers. Okay? Leaders mean you need integrity, you need a sense of integrity, you need a clear goals, and then you must show a good examples, and for sure you need to have a good vision and mission in your career and also in your when you teach. And then you need to very clear with your communication with the students, with the client, with the kids and the students, and simulating your works, focus on team interests and needs, and always encourage your student to be more effective students, encourage students to move forward in their studies. And also, as a leader, you need to have inspirations. Inspiration means not all about with your inspiration, your aspiration, but also to encourage students to inspire them in their study. So, and also the important thing is the support. Support means not from the financial support. Support, they have a lot of meaning, means that as a leader you need support all the students, encourage them to be a good student and a good behavior, attitude, and so on. So please, next, please. And back, please. Backwards. All right, thank you. Okay, as a leader, will you become a model? Okay, this is also an important part, which is when you are a leader, you need to show you as a good model in, and then, because any changes that you want to change your student, it's not easy and it takes time. So you need to be patient when you want to change your student from zero to hero. All right? And then leadership is more about actions and not about position or power. And also, if you want a title, so I mentioned before, you need to be clear what is the meaning of the leaders. Next, please. Okay, this is a typical teacher network, which is we always work with curriculum development, which is when we teach, we have instructional designs, which is we always plan our lesson plan before we teach, and then based on curriculums in your field. And also we are allowing and encouraging to use popular media to deliver our learning, our teaching and learning using suitable pedagogies. And also we have print and digital resources. Of course, this is a resources that you always use. Sometimes we want to protect our environment. Sometimes we just email all the notes using the application for emails and so on. And otherwise, we always, as a teacher, we need to do networking with colleges. It's not networking in the same, with the teacher with same area, but in the locally and globally educators, connecting with them, communicate with them, give suggestion or try to get the feedback from other educators. Next, please. Okay, next. Okay, why educators need digital literacy? Why? Why we need digital literacy? Okay, digital literacy is very important in nowadays because we need digital literacy to support our feedback from all over the world when we tell our story, our success in our audience. And then it's also digital literacy make our work more smarter and not work too hard. And also digital literacy you can share your works to everybody, no borders. And then more silent, digital literacy also give you inspiration to get more using technology in digital literacy. And at the same time, you acquire resources, collaborate locally and of course for globally. And you can track your competencies during the conference. Latest innovation, you can use the latest innovation and ideas in pedagogy, methods, and also learning on the go. For the next. Okay. How can educators combat the digital skills gaps and help students be prepared for the modern workplace? So you need to remember that how you can improve your work, how you can celebrate success of your student success, your student achievement, and it's not only student engagement, but it's also student learning. We must concern about the outcomes is student learning. And what is your focus? What is your purpose when you are teaching? And what you do and what will you do? So this is an important part, which is skill gap. We need to clarify it. To fulfill that, to prepare students in the modern workplace, which is courses promoted. We must make sure that our courses that we offer, our courses that we promote is giving experiential learning to the students and enhance learning of the students and raising the graduates rate, of course. In my university also, we want to increase our postgraduate graduates. And then ending a rigorous digital, of course. So next, okay, what is digital literacy? Okay, I have found that 4 meaning of digital literacy. Maybe some of you is not very familiar with this. So the first one is digital literacy is a power to use digital tools, and which is enabling students to solve the problems, create innovative projects when they are using digital or technology, and also enhance their communication with all the colleges and friends. And also the power of digital tool is to prepare for the challenging of involving in the workplace when they are graduates, and the ability to communicate. The student will communicate, the kids, of course, also as a leader, we can communicate, react, to analyze, do some collaboration with others, and construct or also create something new when you're using digital as one of the tool of the technology. And otherwise, another one is digital is also, it's also enhance our educations in parts of making education more collaborative, because you can connect it with each other, internationally or locally, and helping us to take full advantage of resources. You can use a lot of resources when you're using technology, and also enhance our education in terms of allowing to keep pace with the modern workplace, of course, and also creating an eagerly learning environment. And also the last one is digital literacy will make education more, if you want to investigate of how these skills are used in a digital society, and shows that they are increasingly learning towards the digital. Next slide, please. Okay, another one is the third one. Digital literacy is more on making education more collaboratively. What do you mean by more on collaboratively? Okay, we are encouraged all the educators and also all the learners to make it our education more collaborative, because this is one of the key trends in 21st century educations. We are applying the 21st century pedagogies nowadays, and it is very relevant. And also, learning technology can enhance problem solving, communication skill, and foster creativity. And also, virtual collaboration, as I mentioned before, that are mentioned by Dr. Pedram, virtual collaboration in terms of virtual laboratories. And accommodation groups members, collaborative within group members, schedule of group meetings within one country to another country. You can use digital resources or technology use. And also for the student, learning for peers through groups project using Adobe Creative Cloud software that you are saving all your works now. It's more safety and more easy to access, and share notes through cloud-based document editing software. And this is very important when education more collaboratively, when you are also can be able to increase importance of collaborations, communication, and competencies as technology advance. So the last one is the literature, backward. Okay, digital literacy also to keep pace with the modern workplace, which is the ability to students or kids to create, represent, and share meaning of their different in the different modes and format, to make you be able to interact, collaborate, communicate effectively using digital tools, and engage critically with technology for developing knowledge and also skills, and full participate in civic, economics, and also the personal matters. So next. Okay, this is the learners. Before that, I mentioned about leaders, and now it's learners. You need to gain some new knowledge and skills, so you need to find it yourself. So when you're using a technology, it's easy for you to access and to get resources and get information. And in the 21st century learning space is also very important when we are very concerned about the space that we teach the students in terms of VR, virtual learning, reality, using intelligent reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and so on. Next, please. Next. Okay. Our kids now, not our kids, my kids also, they're always holding the tabs. Do you realize it? Do you realize? Yeah, tap. And we look at the global success, and our kids' tabs and we need to know and we need to manage, we need to control our kids when they are using the tab. Because their thinking and our thinking is different nowadays because they come from the G generations now. And how they apply the thinking in relevant, meaningful way. Because, for example, when you ask something, they think something else. It's not outside of the box, but they're thinking without the box. Do you imagine? Before we think, we encourage students to think outside the box, but now our kids, we encourage them to think without the box. So they have no borders. When they create something new, there is no wrong anything. That always we need to accept it. So how we want to improve learning? When we come with our kids, how we want to improve learning? So we think that we are, and the kids, when our kids using a technology in a new way and how they apply the thinking, and we need to clarify when it's come from technology. And then next, okay, that's why you don't prepare students for something, but prepare them for anything. What does it mean? Okay, you, as a parents or as educators, as a teachers, you don't need to throw everything, the technology to the student, but you need to control it, and you don't expect that they will, you give answer and then you get the answer back. They can give you the answer, it's an incredible answer, or the answer that you never imagine it. So, majority of our kids, they actually don't care about the test. For example, when my kids come back from school, they don't care about tests. They come back from school, Mom and Dad, I got good, amazing grades for my test today. No, right? They never care. And otherwise, they come, hi, Mom. I'm
sorry,
today,
Professor. I'm sorry because we have limited time.
okay,
You can conclude your presentation.
All right, my test today is very amazing. No, they never care. Next. Okay, next. Okay, pedagogy is a driver. Technology is an escalator. So you must understand it. You must focus on learning. Why? Because we have a technology and we combine it with our pedagogies, and to make it more interesting, more effective, and more engaging a student with interaction with each other. So next. So this is the learning environment and space, which is very important. Next. Okay, this is one of the reasons very important I need to clarify. Based on the finding over a year in England and UK, they found that the architectures and design of classroom have 25% impact in positive and negative in student academic performance. Next. Okay, this is classroom design, which is a few factors which is impact our pupils or our students' learning progress. For example, our furniture design, our layout, our colors, temperatures, acoustics, and also lighting is very important, which is all these factors, is the impact of the effect of the student performance. Next. Okay, this is, you need to make sure that as an educator, as a leadership in digital literacy, in era 4.0 education, you need to make sure that you must always be engaging and meet your stakeholders. I think you know what is the stakeholders. The next, the last one, and come as a storytellers. You need to tell everybody all over the world your success, your students' success, so they will know what are you doing. What are you doing? So next. Okay, I think the time is running out. So thank you very much. I pass the microphone to the moderator. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Arsina. That was interesting and informative presentation. Now I would like to invite the last speaker, young and energetic lecturer. He is Dr. Hendy Pratama. He is a faculty of Universitas Negeri Semarang. His bachelor from Universitas Negeri Semarang in language education and his master degree from University of Queensland, Australia, and his doctoral program is from Universitas 11 Maret. Now, his position is as a Vice Dean for Academic Affairs of Language and Art Faculty, Universitas Negeri Semarang. Dr. Hendy Pratama, time is yours.
I just need my slide, please. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's still morning, I think. Good morning. From other speakers, I think I'm from far, far away. This morning, I drove from Ngalian, so very far. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, and this room is usually used for wedding. And the traffic is very bad during wedding. But today it's for international conference and no traffic, meaning that Indonesians are more interested in wedding rather than science. So yeah, applause for Indonesians. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to present the improvement of technological and scientific awareness through language classroom. I myself is a teacher, language teacher or English teacher. Anyone here, English teachers, raise your hand. English teachers, yes? Yeah, I can see that there are some students of mine here and they don't raise your hand. Very funny. They're not proud of being English teachers. Thank you for hiding yourself. What are the problems then? The problems is that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really afraid that our students nowadays can speak English very well, but no content. I try to talk to them about DNA. I try to talk to them about artificial intelligence. Nothing is coming out. So good language, but no content is very stressful. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I also think that science or interest in science is going down. It's not good. It's because students who take English class or being an English lecturer, usually they don't like math and science. That's the reason why they take English. So this is also worrying, and that's the reason why I take research on this. Other than that, we also concerned about the proliferation of hoax. There are lots of hoaxes on the internet, and also the attack of conspiracy theory. I can see that some of my students and my colleagues, they start to learn about flat earth society, which is very concerning, I think, because flat earth has no scientific foundation whatsoever. This is a problem, I think, that we can tackle by integrating the science, technology, and language in a classroom. Next. Now, this is the report of Indonesian performance or Indonesian students' performance in PISA or Program for International Students Assessment. So if we put in a rank, Indonesian ranking on science is ranked 62 from 70 countries, and math ranked 63, and reading ranked 64, meaning that we are bottom there. But good report is that according to PISA, on happiness level, Indonesia is #1 in the world. Very good, yeah, very good. Meaning that they go to school and they are happy, but they don't learn anything. That is quite an awesome feature of Indonesian students. Now, what should we do about this? Next, why do we have to care about science? Because there is a correlation between the performance of science and GDP. And what is GDP? GDP is your income, meaning that the lowest score of science, the lower our income. This is the problem. If you don't increase your science, and then there will be no increase in income. And you should worry about that. And you should start to love science from now on, ladies and gentlemen. Next. Now, we should care about technology because in the future, there are some jobs would be taken care by the computers. Some of the works probably like drivers. In the future, there would be driverless cars and also accountant. Very careful that accounting would be taken care by computer. And probably husband and wife also would be taken care by computer. So you would be no longer relevant, ladies and gentlemen. Be very, very careful. That's the reason why we need to put our awareness on technology, because in the future, the relationship between human society and technology is very complicated. And we have to prepare our students for that. Next. My proposed solution is that to integrate technology, science, and language curriculums across curriculums. So language teachers should know more about technology and science, and they teach them in the classroom. And also technology and science teachers, they have to bring about language skills at the same time. Next. And this is the example of Fibonacci project in Europe, that they try to combine math, language, ICT, and technology. And they're doing quite well there. There's a progression, and people are getting interested in science and math because it is combined in other subjects. Next. Now the expectation, ladies and gentlemen, today in our society, we are now like being indifferent to technological advancement. We also being indifferent with science. And it's supposed to change. We have to integrate ourselves with technology. And that's how we would like to move from the left side of the approach to the right side of the approach. That the attention needed to have a process interaction, orientation, and also engagement. Next. And why do I think that language classroom is very ideal to integrate other subjects into it? For example, technology and science into language classrooms. The first one is because they are flexible and adaptable. So in a language classroom, you can do almost anything. You can put technology, you can put digital literacy, like what our previous speaker said. You can also have some drama or scenario. You can put film, anything. You can put anything there. So basically, language classroom are very flexible and very adaptable. And it would be very bad if we don't use that flexibility. Later on, ladies and gentlemen, we need a skills-based environment. Language teachers are not grammar teachers. If you think about it, that you teach how to do correct thing about language all the time, students would not learn anything. Just right now, if we speak to high school graduates, for example, and we ask them to speak English and they still run away, right? So this is a problem. Language teachers all the time, they teach grammar. Why? Because they look cool. They can blame the students all the time. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, all the time. And you look great at the time. But it doesn't help them to speak. It doesn't help them to communicate. And other than that is that language classroom can be integrated with other things. It's inherently integrative. Next. This is part of my project now. There are two parts. The first part is how to combine debating classroom, English classrooms with equality. That's my previous project, still going on. And the other part is how to integrate science and technology and explain to the students and what are the impacts of science and technology to their future. And this is the example of the next. This is how I would like to improve the students' ability in language at the same time in technology. The first target is vocabulary. So during the course, we would like to improve their vocabulary. Lots of vocabulary coming from science and technology terms. The second one is the debating technique itself. We would like to improve that. And also the last one is the awareness of science and technology. Next. Look at how we design the modules. The first meeting is about DNA and our origins. Imagine a classroom full of English students. We talk about DNA. We talk about our origin. I mentioned a little bit about how if Hitler, for example, knows that if we test his DNA, he's also a Jew himself. That would be quite a good thing for eradicating racism. Second of all, DNA and human health. Again, imagine that it's a classroom full of English students talking about DNA and human health. How nowadays people start to deal with DNA and try to prolong the age of the people. For example, Pak Fahrur here next time would live for 200 years. When you are 100 years old, you say, I'm still young, I'm still 100, right? So this is a kind of change to human society in the future. Brain and human personality, we try to explain how that your emotion, that your feeling is actually on the brain or in the brain, not in your heart. It's just literally. It's very hard to explain. People say that emotion is in your heart, but in reality, your heart is basically a blood pumping mechanism, not really an emotional mechanism. Later on, artificial intelligence is discussed in the classroom, internet and social interaction, green technology, and then math and the universe. Here I explain exclusively why flat earth is not feasible mathematically and physically. This is all related with the language classroom and also debating classroom. Next, this is a sample of meeting 4. I take one of the sample of the module, meeting 4, artificial intelligence and human future. There we have next vocabulary indicators. They have to learn what is the meaning of exceed, recognize, algorithm, surpass, pedestrian, and other thing. The other indicators, debate indicators, they have to debate on certain topics, and the topics must be controversial. For example, we will legalize marriage between human and robot. See, I asked them to think about that. Not a common topic in everyday life, but they have to think about that in my classroom. Next, science and technological indicators. In the classroom, I try to make them understand the capability of latest supercomputer, for example, understanding the power of algorithm, why if you watch YouTube, you can get the suggestion of the videos that you like. You never tell YouTube, but YouTube learn from you according to your habit. And that is the power of algorithm. Updates of self-driving vehicles, updates of how a robot nowadays can create songs and painting, and also updates on some of the artificial intelligence. And that's some example of our modules is. Next, this is the example of how I try to make students think about the future. Here is the picture of Sophia. Sophia is a robot. Humanoid robot, looks like a human, and she's got citizenship from Saudi Arabia, which is cool. She's the first, probably there would be second or third, and one day we will live among robots, one day, probably. And next, what is next? I think I have to measure the effectiveness of the modules and also the treatment, and I would like to propose the integration of technology, science, and language to the university or policy makers. Next, and that's all. Oh, that's my Instagram. Some people probably would like to follow. That's good. If not, you're not so cool. Okay. So this is one of the picture for my closing. The picture of marriage between two robots and they love each other. That's real in Japan. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hendy Pratama. That's good presentation, and you have explained more detail about scientific and technological awareness through language classroom. And I like to believe that your students are interested in learning with you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the question and answer session. Okay, if you have any question, please. Yes, the lady.
Thank you for the opportunity given to me. My name is Yuliani Masito. I'm from Management in Education or Educational Management. So I want to ask the question to Mrs. Arasina about the innovative leadership in 4.0 era. Okay, in management, there are 4 basic to make this management success, such as planning, organization, leading, and controlling. And from this case, leadership is related to management. So to achieve the goal for the get a good leadership in a 4.0 era, how you manage this way to make this project can effective and efficient. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, the second question, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for your attention. May I ask with Professor Arasi Kamis? My question first, how to the digital literacy to improve the soft skill with the student. Another question, how to student to manage how to teacher to manage the characteristic the student with the leadership with combined to technology, like understand. And last question, I'm very interested with your article, and I need to collaborate with you. If you do that, I wanna collaborate. How to me can collaborate the future with me, the research. Okay, I think enough. Thank you very much for attention. Akhirul kalam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, the last one. Yeah.
So my name is Alex. I am from Educational Management, UNES. A lot of people here are talking about education, science, and technology, and how do we apply this technology to classrooms and use every method to teach children. But nowadays, we also face something critical problems, which is, like a lot of people now know about YouTube, right? And this is kind of issue for children. Like, a lot of children right nowadays, currently, for the future, they have a different perspective of future. If we ask children what they want to be in the future, none of them, they say, I want to be pilot or doctor or scientist or everything. But mostly they say, I want to be a YouTuber. So this is one of a critical problem that happening right now, because this is one of impact of technology as well, because in classroom, in school, we can we can control what are the teachers going to give to the students, but
okay,
we cannot control.
What's your question?
The question is, I just want to hear what is your opinion about these cases, because like technology also give impact, because we cannot control what are the students doing at home with their parents. We cannot control them. They probably watch YouTube every day. That's give them motivation to be a YouTuber rather than a scientist and everything, something like that. So what's
we
your
get the point.
opinion of that?
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, we have 3 questions and 2 questions for Professor Arsina. How to be future leadership. Sorry, Oh, three. And the last one for Dr. Handy. Okay, please.
Testing. Okay, thanks for the questions. But I try to answer not all. I pass one of the questions to Dr. Harry to answer. Okay, the first question is actually you want to know how to, it's more on how to make our classroom interactive, if I'm not mistaken. So there I mentioned before, and as an educators and also as a teachers, for example, you need to make sure that you're always encourage your students to communicate each other, which is we need to apply the pedagogies in 21st century using the technology. That means you need to mix up the pedagogy methods that you want to use for the particular subject that you want to teach, and you combine it using the technology. For example, when you are in management fields, so you try to, as teachers, you try to connect and try to plan the instructional design, which is the activities, the objective you want to achieve towards the end of the classes. The objective, the assessment, and the activity is related with your pedagogy and using a technology. For example, also you can use a flipped classroom. You can also use, as Dr. T mentioned before, you can use gamification. It's more interactive and more student will they can communicate each other. They can and then you can develop social skills among them. It's not actually for the certain subject. It's actually you can apply with all the subjects when you want to teach. But you need to make sure that all the activities, all the objectives achieved towards the end of the class, and to make sure that the assessment that you want to apply to the student is actually achieve the objective. So the assessment also, you can use technologies as you can use Kahoot using technologies. You can use Burblack, Zip Quiz, Quizzes, and so on. That's mentioned by Dr. T before this in the first plenary session first. And then the second question is more on digital learning. How to, from the digital literacy, how to improve a student's soft skills. Okay, the soft skills is different with the other skills. Soft skills is actually skills is more on psychomotor skills. Soft skill is more on generic skills and probability skills, which is, this is, you cannot measure because this is visible. For example, soft skill is like communication skills, social skills, and so on. And this soft skill is, they have a specific assessment or specific skills you need to measure. This is separate from the skills that you learn from your particular fields, and soft skills is actually crossed all over the programs, all over the courses. So soft skills, they have a certain soft skill, which is many research have been done. The lack of our graduates, when they graduate from their university, they cannot get a job because they lack of soft skill or ability skill or generic skills, which is communication skills, language skills, social skills, and so on. So you need to make sure that the soft skill and probability skill is actually aligned, and you need to choose appropriate technology in digital literacy to use it, and in the appropriate time. And then the third one is regarding the request of the collaboration in research. So you can search my name using Scopus. Just type my Kamis or Arasina, first name or last name. You can see what is types of the research that I have been done and still undergoing. For example, for green skills and environment also is one part of my research. I have 2 grants in our Ministry of Education. And also my specific fields in education, in technical and vocational education, and also specific in home science education. So I really love if some of students here want to collaborate in terms of as a co-author or first author in research. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So you can contact me and take my cards here. So I pass to Doctor to answer for the 4th questions.
Oke, that's okay. Pertanyaan untuk Ibu 3, saya cuma 1. Padahal saya sudah pasang mahasiswa saya di situ loh. Iya, tapi lupa kayaknya ya. Kasihan sekali. I think the last question is about how to use all the impacts of technology and also to the students and kids. I think that it is quite hard to ask them to adapt with us. So we, as teachers and educators, should adapt with them. That they prefer YouTube than watching you, then you have to have your own content on YouTube. For example, I also make some of my explanation on how to use Mendeley and how to choose Scopus journals. I put that on YouTube, and guess what? They've got lots of viewers. And I believe that nowadays, if we are here and students are getting bored with us, maybe if they can swipe us, they will swipe us anyway, because that's what they do. So basically, the teachers themselves, I think, that should overcome the, let's say, the negative effect of the technology by being technologically adapt themselves. So combine what Dr. Kamis already said about how to use technology on our education. I think that's the best way. So in the future, that if we want to stay relevant, teachers and educators must use technology for us to survive, I think. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Arsina and Dr. Hendy Pratama. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this session. But before I close this session, please give a big applause to the speaker. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And please remain on stage, the speakers. We would like to invite the Vice Directors for Academic Affairs, Professor Dr. Toto, to hand the token of appreciations for both speakers and also for directors. Please also come to the stage and take photo together. Okay, for all vice directors, and also the chairman, please take a photo together with the speakers.
Check.
Okay, thank you very much.
Baik para peserta International Conference on Science, Education and Technology, kami informasikan untuk sesi plenari pada siang hari ini telah selesai dan kami persilakan para peserta maupun presenter untuk dapat menikmati makan siang dan istirahat sampai pukul jam berapa Bu Pak? Setengah 2 ya? 13.30 ya. Sampai pukul 13.30. Lalu untuk sesi paralel akan diselenggarakan di gedung PPS, tepatnya di gedung C. Kami mohon untuk dapat melihat di program book yang telah dibagikan. Nanti untuk para presenter mendapatkan tempat di ruang berapa nanti mohon dilihat di dalam program book. Ya, di bagian depan aula auditorium UTC juga tertempel. Sudah tertempel masing-masing nama presenter yang akan mempresentasikan ya di dalam sesi paralel. Untuk yang namanya belum tercantum ya, untuk presenter kami mohon dapat melihat di pengumuman di luar auditorium maupun di gedung PPS. Untuk pengumuman berikutnya adalah sertifikat. Untuk sertifikat kegiatan konferensi ini mungkin dapat langsung diambil. Bagi partisipan saja. Hanya bagi partisipan mungkin langsung bisa diambil siang ini.
Baik, kepada seluruh partisipan, hanya sebagai partisipan saja, sertifikat bisa diambil di depan setelah kegiatan ini. Namun kami sarankan kepada khususnya mahasiswa pasca sarjana untuk dapat mengikuti sesi paralel di kampus. Meskipun sebagai partisipan diharapkan bisa memasuki ruang-ruang kelas paralel yang ada di kampus pasca sarjana. Dan kepada seluruh presenter untuk bisa mempersiapkan diri di ruang paralel yang telah tertempel di depan dan ada di book program masing-masing. Dan sertifikat untuk para presenter baru kami bagikan setelah presentasi kelas paralel selesai. Terima kasih.
Baik, selanjutnya adalah pengumuman untuk yang sudah mengunggah Instagram dengan tagar seperti yang kami sebutkan tadi. Untuk yang berhak untuk mengambil souvenirs dari mitra sponsor ISET yaitu Bank BNI dan Bank BTN adalah @Jativiti, kemudian @Katrina Tiweri, kemudian @Kopi Kampung Genting, @2Agus,
@Z_Agus_DW35.
Ya, mohon maaf untuk @2Agus_, Z_Agus_DW35.
Lalu ada @Erliadani, dan @Ludgardis Vicky Paseru.
Oh yes. Baik, untuk selanjutnya bagi peserta seminar yang tadi menyampaikan beberapa pertanyaan kepada presenters, ada 6 orang, dapat juga menuju ke meja MC untuk dapat kami beri sedikit kenang-kenangan dari Bank BTN dan Bank BNI.
Ya, yang tadi para peserta atau partisipan yang telah memberikan pertanyaan pada sesi question and answer, ada 6 dari sesi pertama dan sesi kedua. Kami berikan penghargaan sedikit mungkin dapat datang ke meja pewara untuk menerima hadiah dari kami. Kami ulangi sekali lagi untuk yang sudah mengunggah foto ya atau swafotonya dan memberikan captionnya di Instagram, kami akan memberikan sedikit kenang-kenangan dari kami. Mungkin yang terpilih tadi @jativity sudah, lalu @Katrina Tiweri, lalu ada @kopi_kampung_genting, ada @zagus_dw35, lalu @erliadani dan @ludgardis Vicky Paseru. Mungkin bisa datang ke meja pewara. Terima kasih.
Kami mohon kepada Bapak Direktur dan juga Bapak Wakil Direktur untuk dapat memberikan kenang-kenangan kepada para pemenang swafoto dan juga para partisipan yang aktif selama kegiatan conference berlangsung. Kepada seluruh pemenang dan juga peserta yang sudah menjadi partisipan aktif, mohon untuk dapat menuju ke panggung. Oke, mohon kepada Bapak Ibu yang mungkin ingin berfoto agak geser sedikit untuk dapat digunakan tempatnya oleh panitia dan juga peserta pemenang yang menerima kenang-kenangan pada kegiatan conference hari ini. Bagi yang mengajukan pertanyaan tadi ada 6 orang sebagai partisipan yang aktif. Mohon untuk dapat maju ke depan panggung. Kepada Bapak Rizky, Ibu Silviana,